What's going on, boys and girls, and welcome back to another episode of Eating Shit. This will be a short one today. Not really so much of a lesson, but more of an observation that I had earlier this week. And I have this observation a lot. I've talked about it on the other podcast, if any of you guys listen to Go to Bed. But I just have this, it's one of my superpowers, I think. It's the ability to see just like crazy shit all the time. And I don't know if it's a superpower or if it's even a good thing, but it comes from my like demented sense of humor that I have. And I think a lot of that was developed even further. I've always had a demented sense of humor, but a lot of it was developed further by like working at the casinos here in Reno and specifically in the valet, because when you do valet at a casino in Reno, all you're dealing with is like total dirtbags all the time. You know, you think when, oh, you do valet, you get to drive all these nice cars. It's like, yeah, you do get to drive nice cars, but most of them are like the worst fucking cars that you have ever seen. And even it's crazy. I could do like episodes and episodes on, you know, shit that I've seen at the valet. But as far as like dirty cars go, you know, like just to paint the picture a little bit, the steering wheel black, and it's not supposed to be black. Like the door handle where you have to put your hand to get out of the vehicle, black, where it's not supposed to be black. McDonald's wrappers literally filled up to the bottom of the passenger seat, like the whole footwell over there, just full of trash, literal dog shit on the passenger seat, shit like that. That's the type of stuff that you see in the valet. But with those cars comes exactly the type of person that you would imagine driving one of those cars. But just like witnessing all this stuff and then just people, you know, in and out of a casino. Casinos are not good places to be regardless. They're very negative. The people that go there are very negative. The people that work there are very negative. So you're just dealing with all these type of people all the time. From witnessing all these types of things, you know, I can see the humor in all of it. Like, you know, I'm a professional people watcher, I guess. And so now I take that with me. And that's why I always see crazy shit. And the shit that I see, usually while I'm driving around, may or may not be funny to other people, but it's super funny to me because I always see the humor in it. But, you know, if it's one of those things like, you know, if you look out for opportunity or you're at least open to opportunity, those type of people get way more opportunities than people that are closed off to it or just like, you know, stuck in their like basically small thinking world, I guess. I don't know how else to phrase it. So if you look out for crazy shit or funny shit, you always see crazy and funny shit. So not only is this funny to me, but it's also kind of like a good lesson. And I'm glad I'm just going off the cuff here, but looped it into the valet because it has to do with driving and people's cars and things like that. So what I see all the time, like literally almost every morning when I'm driving to work, you know, I live in South Reno. I just take Virginia Street all the way down to Midtown down here. And, you know, that's where our office is at. I always see these people that are just like having crazy road rage every single morning. And it's like, you know, first thing, it's, you know, 7:45 a.m. and we're already having road rage. So you can imagine like that's probably how their entire day goes all the time. And, you know, it's funny to see it, but then I'm also like empathetic towards it. I'm like, damn, like their shit just sucks. Pretty much. That's like the moral of the story. Like if you're having road rage at 7:45 for no good reason, like there's definitely reasons to road rage. But when I witness these people, you know, I can see them coming behind me, like in the rear view, and they're weaving in and out of traffic and they'll just like blow by you. And I'm not like camped in the fast lane, even though it's not a fast lane. It's not on the freeway. And no one else is doing anything wrong. You know, everyone's going 5, 10 over. And they're just in a hurry and like ripping around everyone, like literally hands up, screaming, weaving in and out of traffic. And then inevitably you pull up to the red light and there they are because they get caught at the red light. Light turns green, just floor it, take off, and repeat the pattern all their entire commute to work. I assume they're going to work. That's what it's like. And so it's like, you know, with that behavior, you can imagine like the type of car. And it's like literally the same car that I just described. They're the ones that are going to Atlantis Valet and not tipping and wasting all their money gambling instead of, you know, doing other things with it. But it's always just like your stereotypical cig smoker car. No offense to anyone that smokes cigs, but also full offense, because what the fuck are you doing? But it's always just like a beat to fuck early 90s car, no tint, furry steering wheel cover, no license plate, and, you know, smoking cigs probably. But you can just like, it's always a package deal. It's never like this person is totally functional, has all their shit together, but for some reason they drive this car. Or, you know, this person has all their shit together, totally functional, drive a nice car, but then they're road raging everywhere that they go. And every time they get behind the wheel of their nice car, they're just like turned into a crazy person. Like it's always a package deal. And that kind of just like fits in with the bigger picture, I guess, lesson or observation here is like mental bandwidth is a real thing. And I think as you start to progress, like in your career or just shit that you're doing like throughout life, you just notice that more and more, because like when you don't have all that much going on, like everything is just happening to you and nothing is happening for you. And your bandwidth is just getting filled up with, I guess, everything that comes in, and you just let it affect you because like there's nothing else to worry about. So the smallest things, like someone's in your way, even though they're not doing anything while you're driving, like that's the end of the world. And now that's a huge problem, and that's going to ruin the rest of your day and like totally affect your behavior, like for whoever is unlucky enough to for you to encounter next. And then like as you start to like do more and more things, it's like you just can't, it's not even like you literally can't let that stuff affect you, because if you did, then you wouldn't have any more bandwidth to like solve any bigger problems that are definitely going to come up throughout the day. And I think I heard this concept the first time, I think it was from Ed Milet, and that's basically what he was saying is like, the bigger you get or the further along you get, like your problems never go away. They just turn into different problems. So, you know, the people that are way further ahead than me, they look at the shit that I bitch about on this show, as far as like the issues that I'm dealing with week in and week out. And that's like minor, like little bullshit to them. I look at the people that are road raging every day on the way to work in the fucking 93 GMC Jimmy that sits sideways driving down the road while it's going straight. And I'm looking at them like, what the fuck are you doing? Like that is, everything's going on here is so insignificant. Like how could you let that affect you? So as they say, there's levels to this shit. And yeah, it's just like a weird observation. I'm sure like, you know, now it's one of those things, if you look out for it, you'll see it more and more. So if you guys never noticed this before, you'll start seeing it now. But yeah, I just think that like, I don't know, that's another reason why I even do this show, because I realize that concept. And that's why I don't want to just like, I always want to mention like the specific issues that I'm dealing with here, because I want to go back in 5 years and click on like this episode and the issues that I'm about to tell you guys about and be like, God damn, I can't believe I was dealing with that little like bullshit. And that's what was hard back then, because 5 years from now, whatever I have to deal with is going to be so much bigger. You know, like that's what I'm saying. The problems are never going to go away. The problems just change and they get bigger. But with that, you can't let like your mental bandwidth is limited on a day-to-day basis. So you can't let these little things that are like super insignificant to anything take up any of that bandwidth, because you'll be left with zero for, you know, putting any type of effort towards anything that matters. And then like similarly, I was just thinking while I was writing a couple of notes for this, I was thinking about this guy. This was earlier this year. I think it was in the spring. It was the first time I used Milne towing in Sparks. And I think I talked about this guy on Go to Bed. I don't think it was on this show, but very similar situation, but it was just not driving. It was at this towing place. And so Milne is this place that they definitely don't do it for everyone, because I tried to have a seller do this, what I'm about to say, and they wouldn't do it for him. And then I called, and for the same vehicle, for the same house, they did it. But they are one of the few places that maybe will tow a car without a title. So in our business, we get cars left behind all the time, and usually they're a pain in the ass to get rid of because you can't take them to pick and pull without a title. But Milne, if it's an abandoned vehicle, will come pick it up, and I don't know what the fuck they do with it, but that's what I heard. So this was the first time I went down there to figure it out. And so like I go in there and I go to their yard, and there's like security there. I was like, what the fuck? Like, it didn't click for me at first. And then, I'm standing there and I'm behind this guy, and well, one, the security sucked because he was like trying to rizz up this like middle-aged woman that was in front of me. So like I walked in, and like he didn't even look at me, like didn't even stop the conversation, but that's besides the point. The guy that was actually in front of me, very similar archetype to the road rage person, and he may be one of these road rage people. He was just like, I could just tell from eavesdropping and being the professional people watcher that he had been dealing with trying to get his car back like all day long. And then I put two and two together. I was like, oh, that's why they have security, because people come in here all the fucking time. That's really the only reason why people come in here is to get their car back because it got towed from somewhere. And so this dude, from, just picking up on what he was saying, he's been dealing with this shit all day. And he's like, well, I had to go to the bank, and then like, now I got this money, and then now the fee is this much. And then he's like, well, I know this card has $30 on it. And then, well, I can go back to the bank and get, some more money, but like all this crap. And I'm like, dude, like this is insane for, like a $200 or $300 towing fee or whatever it is to get his car back. That was like mind blowing to me that this dude, I don't know what he does for work, but he's like missing work to get his car back, and like going back and forth a million times for all this different shit. And it's like, well, back up, like, why is he even here in the first place? Like, he parked his car somewhere where it wasn't supposed to be parked. That's why I got towed in the first place. And you can just see it's always the package deal. It's always this like cycle of bad behavior where it's like, that dude that this would be like a huge issue to get the car back would be the one to also park his car in the place that, it got towed from or whatever. You guys get what I'm trying to say here. So mental bandwidth, like it's unreasonable to think that this dude could do anything productive on this certain day, because his entire day is dedicated to like trying to scrape together $200 and like go to Milne Towing back and forth. I don't know if he's taking Ubers or if he's the friends giving him rides back and forth. Like all this shit is like, how could you do anything productive? And this is just one day. And then you times that by your entire life. And it's like, yeah, that's why, because you're always dealing with these problems that are like so insignificant that, like, how could you do anything else? I don't know. Anyway, issues this week. I didn't put anything down, but we definitely had issues. I think I just like stopped taking notes, and I must have started doing something else. But yeah, this week was like crazy, like all this just drama with deals and uncertainty with deals. And some of it was my bad, and some of it's like, regular seller drama that we always deal with, of just being all over the place, similar to what I just described. I'm thinking of like a couple of specific deals. There was like 3 really urgent specific deals that were issues this week. One of them that was totally my bad was just like, again, buyers not following our process. And we just need to get like way, way, way tighter on that. And that's like, I don't want to say that we were doing the guy a favor, because like, we're doing a deal, we're making money. But at the same time, it's like, we basically reverse wholesaled this deal as like a lot dirt. So there's not like that many people that want just lots, and especially people that will pay like somewhere where we can, monetize some of these pieces of land out in the rural areas in Nevada. So I basically brought it to him before we had it in contract. I was like, hey, can you do this amount for this dirt? He says, yes. Okay, cool. Now we go back to the seller, contract it. Cool. We can like do an easy deal. So it seems. But then, so that's why I feel like, you're kind of doing him a favor, because I basically gave him a layup. I'm like, hey, do you want this? Yes. Okay, we will get it for you. We get it for him. I didn't take it to any other buyers, but then that ends up fucking us because now the buyer has all the leverage in the deal. So he's just going to do whatever the fuck he wants and make it like a total nightmare trying to close this and giving us total uncertainty and not depositing his EMD and all this other crap. But, when we do buyer EMD for a wholesale deal, the whole point of that is like, if you don't get it in a day, we're going to go to the next buyer. But we can't really do that when we don't have another buyer because we're giving this guy a layup. So that's why it's like, dude, what the fuck? It's like even worse than the regular what the fuck of not following the process on how we want things done. So I was not very happy about that. But again, that's my bad for even allowing that. So learn from those type of things and move on, improve the process. And then the other two, one was like basically just seller drama, because that's how some people are. And no matter how much we do, I don't think we can ever get ahead of some of the issues. This deal was a good example of that. So just kind of is what it is. Sometimes you just have to like work on the fly and pivot and solve problems. And then the other one was a pre-foreclosure, and we're trying to delay the sale. And I think it was just stressful. I don't think there was really like an issue. The only issue, the issue was that the thing's about to go to foreclosure sale, and there was unexpected title issues. And so we need more time to solve those before we can do the deal. And if we do not delay the sale, it's going to go the steps. The seller gets a foreclosure, we lose the deal, et cetera, et cetera. So I just had to haul ass the whole week and try to delay the sale, which I was successful in doing, which is great. But it's just like, that stuff happens. It's not like something we did wrong or something she did wrong. It just, if she would have contacted us earlier, I guess we would have had more time and we weren't like down to the wire to delay the sale, and it wouldn't have been as big of an issue, but you can't really control that. So it's just an issue, and that's just things that we have to deal with, and something to be a little bit more aware of, I guess, whenever we're coming up on a sale date here. It's like we should probably just start to try to delay the sale just in case things go wrong, so we're not like 2 days away from losing the whole thing. That way we can give ourselves a little bit more time, because we would have had more time on that one if we would have started to delay the sale as soon as we put it in contract. But, we did everything that we thought we should do on our end. Like we're ready to close it. We're good to go. But now, unexpectedly title is not good to go, which hardly ever happens, but it does happen sometimes. So just things to look out for more in the future. Wins from this week, had 3 new contracts, which is great. That's always a good week for us. That's also something I want to look back on and think about, like, 3 contracts was like a really good week, not a normal week or a slow week or anything like that. And then, 2 of those deals, the first 2 that I just mentioned in the issues section, we closed both of those. And then, the third one we got delayed. So I guess those, all 3 issues were also wins, because the 2 that were super uncertain ended up closing. So we're good on those. And then the sale did get delayed on the pre-foreclosure. So it's all good there. Got my new setup. You guys that are watching the video, it looks even fucking worse than it did before, but that's okay. We'll get the sign up on the wall. We're waiting for the backdrop of the other show that's going to sit over here to get done before we do this wall, because I don't want to have to rip everything down. And then I got this mixer that's pretty sick. I don't think I'll use much of anything for it on this show. I'll probably have guests on here at some point, so we can use some shit when we have guests. But I was messing around with this thing over the weekend trying to get it to work right. So got some. It's not going to sit here all the time. It'll probably sit over here, which will be out of frame. But yeah, right now I was looking at the video before I started recording. I'm like, God damn, you can't even see the sign now. The sign that's sitting on the table looks even worse. And I was talking shit last week about how bad it looks, and now with the new gear, looks worse. But
we can do effects on the fly,
which is pretty cool. And you can like play Bluetooth through this thing and do all sorts of shit. So at some point, and also like for the other podcasts that I do, one of the coolest things about all this new gear is that we could do like call-ins and stuff for our Patreon on that show. So we could do like live video call-ins where I switch the scene on here, and like the video is basically getting edited live, and we can have picture-in-picture pop-up of one of our Patreon members that calls into the show, and we can adjust their audio to like mix it in real time, and we can live stream, do all that crap too. So I mean, you know, down the road with this show, maybe we could do something like that, but either way, I don't know. I'm just talking on my ass now. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next episode.